sought AI knowledge base is basically solved by RAG, I would like to challenge you this notion today. I started questioning this the hard way from a failed project. They all started when one of my clients requested a knowledge-based chatbot for his proprietary data. So I was like, easy, and quickly handed over a typical RAG system for him to try out. The results, I was trashed. Even though the UX is great, the system just doesn't output good enough answers. Especially when the client asks subtle, high-level questions that bridge multiple data sources, the answers are just unnecessarily detailed and often too simplistic. Frustrated, I had to take a step back and really think from the first principles, the flaws of the system. Interestingly, it's also around this time, Andrej Karpathy, the creator of Tesla Autopilot and co-founder of OpenAI, shared a post called LLM Wiki that talks actually about this exact problem. His core insight is that the problem of traditional RAG is that it is stateless. It forces the AI to rediscover and synthesize knowledge from raw information every single time, piecing together fragments of data only at query time. The alternative system he proposes is called an LLM Wiki, which, unlike RAG, I think it's best described as a compounding knowledge system or evolving quote-unquote tower of knowledge. When you add a new piece of information like a doc into this new system, it doesn't just blindly index the raw content like in RAG. The AI had to first read and really study the document, create a synthesis of the document in a markdown file, and also draw connections to other relevant indexes in the system. The knowledge is curated and compiled as it's being created. More specifically, and to compare directly with RAG, we can juxtapose both systems in the following three dimensions. First, the primary data artifact. This refers to the underlying information that actually gets indexed as the core source of truth. In a RAG system, the first class data is the raw content of the data sources. If you ingest a meeting transcript, the system just stores the raw chunks of the meeting conversations. In an LLM Wiki, however, the first class data is the compiled and synthesized knowledge on top of the raw data. The meeting transcript is intelligently curated into a summary of key extracted metadata upon ingestion. The raw data source is saved and connected for auditing, but it is not the primary data used for retrieval. This creates a highly condensed, navigatable logic chain before even any query is made. I think this is actually very powerful because not all information is actually created equal. This pre-processing of data solves this problem, allowing the system to compound and extract knowledge ahead of time while not losing the ability to look up the raw content also. The second dimension is what I call the search signals. These are what I refer to as the signals or information cues a system uses to find whatever is relevant for a user query. In a typical RAG system, the signals are flat, drawn equally across the embeddings of the raw data. Discovery relies on deterministic semantic similarity search between the query and the raw data chunk embeddings. In LLM Wiki, however, the signals are much richer. The system has a set of options to draw from, including the index files, the metadata, the file names, the markdown files, or even the data embeddings too. Also note that these signals are indexed at varied layers of the data, from highly synthesized data to the lowest raw content. So the final dimension, the search mechanism, is all about what the system uses to process the signal to determine the information to retrieve. In a RAG system, retrieval is mostly done one time, almost